Hey, welcome back to Inside Gaming Daily for Monday.
Happy President's Day!
Hey! Hey!
That's the Hava Nagila, not a President's Day music.
Gamers don't know that! Don't say anything!
Hey everybody, welcome back. I hope you had a good weekend. Let's talk about Sony and how it's about to become the evil president of microtransactions.
Ooh, yeah, we all know and hate the insidious mechanics that have turned a lot of modern video games into virtual casinos. But Sony apparently has plans to wring even more dollars out of your wallets.
Ooh, awesome!
The sons of bitches did it.
They figured it out.
They found a way.
The boys in the lab had been cooking up a great way to steal more money.
Things are going awesomely. It's a wonderful time to be alive.
It's pretty epic.
What new horrors does this industry have in store for us?
Brian?
So this involves a patent that Sony filed with the World Intellectual Property Organization. That's the same one that probably tells you to breastfeed your kid until they're like 5 years old. But it involves something called an in-game resource surfacing platform, and it is as evil as it sounds, boys.
Sounds like it could be an oil derrick. I mean, I guess it also sounds like a sky level from Super Mario Brothers.
The NES actually ran on coal.
Nope, it is much worse. It has to do with something we've all experienced as players.
Players of your Game Boys at home.
Dying to a particularly hard boss or a hard section of a game.
I'm very bad at video games.
I do love seeing on Steam when you beat a boss and it's like, this many people have this achievement. Like, no one finishes games.
I feel like I've gotten things in the first half hour on PS4 and it just goes, rare trophy. Like,
Yeah.
You got past the tutorial and the dopamine works. And I'm just like, I guess I did. As the patent points out, when that happens, players are much more likely to quit playing a game. It says when players become frustrated with their repeated failures to accomplish some objective, there is a higher likelihood that the player will quit the game and not experience the totality of what the game is intended to offer. What's the definition of insanity?
Okay, that makes sense. So what do they have planned? I can already feel my butthole clenching up.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Swallowing your teeth.
Brian, tell us about this patent.
So the patent says there is thus a need and a benefit to develop and integrate an in-game platform to match players with those resources that are most likely to help them succeed. Here we go.
I've got a bad feeling about this, and that is a line from Star Trek.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Sony goes on to say that there is a need and benefit for game publishers and virtual store platforms to be able to identify specific in-game resources that would complement the player in their gameplay and communicate the same to them.
They're just,
That was an
it worked.
entire sentence of nonsense.
Completely disoriented. Don't worry, there's a helpful
If you don't speak patent lawese, Sony even spelled it out further in a helpful illustration. Fun. It showed a player asking, hey PlayStation, how do I defeat the boss?
And then the PlayStation responds with a helpful stat. 80% of players like you defeated the boss using resource X. Meaning a resource like a piece of armor or a potion or weapon, whatever. You've all played video games.
You get it.
So basically it's like the same thing as Googling it, but you have to pay.
Yeah, and then it gives you the option to buy resource X. There you
There
go.
it is, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do I fix this pipe? And it's like, you need this wrench, here's the Amazon link. So basically it's the game using machine learning to make itself as pay to win as possible. It's tracking how you play and then suggesting helpful items based on your play style to help you get over whatever hump you're currently on. For a small fee, of course. I picture Sony like a bellhop in a nice hotel eyeing you for a tip. Except you already paid for the room and it's like, wasn't it nice of me to hold open the door for you?
Now that's just one example, but you get the idea of what they're shooting for here. It's not only pay to win, it's pay to progress.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's basically inserting the worst part of free-to-play mechanics into full-price games. Damn, microtransactions are like climate change. We knew they were a problem, but ignoring them didn't help them go away. And now D-Day is here. Pay us money and we'll help you beat this boss.
Hey! Of course, this is hardly the first shady microtransaction patent that's come down the pipe, right, Brian?
Yeah, developers and big publishers have been experimenting for years with algorithms that will prod you to spend more money in a game. Some of them are really, really sophisticated too.
Of course they are. Why wouldn't they be? So we'll get into that in a second. Before you do,
Hey Patrick, can you do me a favor? Can you just sing a little tune for us?
yeah, no problem.
So what other algorithms have developers and publishers been messing with? Well, back in 2015, Activision applied for a patent for a system for driving microtransactions in multiplayer video games. It involves practices like pairing an expert player with a newbie to encourage that newbie to buy gear to be more like the good player. Patrick, be my fainting couch.
Of course.
Oh no, it's gonna
God,
kill me!
That sucks. So the idea being that if you get rocked by a much better player and he's got some high level gear, you might say, damn, I gotta buy that stuff for myself. And then you'd get matched up with a few noobs to pwn 2005.
Hello.
Remember poning noobs? So you'd feel great about your purchase.
It's like a pyramid scheme. Well, I pwn you, and then you in
Literally.
turn pwn 3 people.
Yeah.
It's like seeing that cool kid in your neighborhood and thinking, I want that skateboard. And then an Amazon drone just drops it on your head.
Man, if I only had Osiris shoes, I could definitely do a kickflip.
Man, all the other kids have Heelys. Brian, it was a pretty shady situation, right?
Yeah, but Activision said they hadn't implemented the technology into any of their games. I assume with their fingers crossed behind their back. In 2017, they said this was an exploratory patent filed in 2015 by an R&D team working independently from our game studios. It has not been implemented in game. But boys, who's to say they haven't done it in the years since? That was like a million years ago.
It's all just more examples of how microtransactions continue to drive the industry.
Yeah, we reported last month that EA made almost $1 billion from microtransactions alone in the last quarter. Holy which accounted for almost 2/3 of their total revenue. Holy Jesus goddamn what the
Woo, that's a lot of.
Not on President's Day, young man.
Ooh, I'm sorry, Mr. Lincoln.
So.
I was gonna do like a firing squad thing. I was gonna tie the bandana around my
Ah, yes.
It just seems like a lot of effort.
Boom.
That's probably why I didn't do it, because it wasn't very funny.
You good?
Pretty funny stuff, right?
If you look at a breakdown of the quarter, EA made more than 3 times as much from microtransactions as it did from just selling games.
Meanwhile, last year, Take-Two, which owns Rockstar and 2K Games, a couple of little companies, reported that it made more than $317 million worth of microtransaction loot in just one quarter. $317 million, one quarter? Those don't seem the same to me at all. And you know who's on the quarter? George Washington.
Da, 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 da.
So it makes sense that they would want to push more and more of these microtransactions, which is why they're trying to patent all these algorithmic shenanigans. Sony's taking it to a whole new level with this one because this is a higher level of integration than we've seen in the past. This is the game recognizing that you're struggling, then basically offering you a helping hand for a few bucks or 50 cents, whatever it is, it'll all add up over time.
One example that the patent gave was a piece of chest armor that cost $1.50. That's not expensive, but what if you paid that several times during a game to get past the difficult part?
Then you suck. You're a piece of
Just quit like a real gamer.
Not that any of us would do that because we're true gamers.
Heavens, no.
Yeah.
I just turn off my PS4 and take a walk. There are people who would. If you look at a game like Destiny 2, you could spend countless hours rating for the best gear in the game, or maybe pay $20 for it. I don't pay for gear like that.
Well, you can't pay for gear in Destiny. We just buy.
I'm just putting it as a hypothetical in there. I know. You can only-
Can you buy gear in Destiny?
No. Brian, tell us about FIFA.
Speaking of pay to win, I mean, people are basically already doing that in games like FIFA Ultimate Team. That's why it makes so much money. So you can see why they're trying to kind of add these mechanics into different types of games, not sports games, just exclusively.
Something about sports games, man, they do not give a about microtransactions.
No.
They love it.
So this is obviously just a patent, so who knows if it'll actually be implemented. At the very least, it could be denied. But it gives you an idea of where Sony's thinking and its priorities are at.
And if you're hoping for fewer microtransactions in games, got some bad news for you. The future is not looking bright right now. It's not gonna happen. So you might want to get into retro gaming. Get a retro pie maybe. Uno.
Twister?
Go fish.
Twister if you're trying to, hoop and stick. Or you could just hoop on the haters.
All very good games. Have a good Monday, everyone.
A negative impact on the children. Won't somebody think about the children?
Oh no, our kids.
The children.
In all seriousness, though, they do suck. And yeah, they f up kids.
The children? Oh, okay, I see now. But anyway, this should be great news, right? Because, maybe people aren't as terrible as they've proven time and time again. The arc of